Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, anything I say is alleged and in my very, very personal opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. None of this is personal. The Copyright Act of 1976 is in the description box. Some meat and potatoes, some housekeeping items. It is free to follow me. Free to follow me on this channel, Anonymous Tea. Free to follow me on my other channel, Anonymous Tea Podcast. There is new content over there. Follow me on the Tickety Talk at Anonymous Tea Podcast. Free to follow me on the Instagram. On the Instagram is at Anonymous Reality Tea. Free to share everywhere. Free to like the video so it gets out to the algorithm. Free to share with your family, your friends, and your foes, and coming or going, hit the like button. So today we're talking why nobody leaves Huda in the corner. Make it make sense! We are talking Love Island USA, Season 7, Episode 33, and I don't know about y'all, but I am happy to wrap this up. We have 2 more episodes. We have an episode tonight where it's the family visits, and then we have the finale Sunday, and I can't lie to y'all. I can't wait for this to be over. The fans, some of you guys who are overzealous and doing the most, have, oh my gosh, it has just been awful. But let's get into it. So, Huda and Chris are not on the same page. We pick up after Taylor and Clark that T, have been dumped from the show. Ace is in a state of depression, you guys, and Shelly is like, if you want to cry, I can cry too. We can cry together. You cry, I cry, we cry together, right? That was the type of time she was on. Nick was feeling away too about Taylor being gone, but at the same token, he is happy to be here with Alandria as well. Alandria, I'm hoping this is the last time that she gives a whole monologue about Taylor. Now that Taylor is gone, hopefully things can be full speed ahead, right? To an extent. We get to Huda and Chris, and their communication skills, or lack thereof, suck. They are talking in 2 different languages, in 2 different conversations. Their body languages are just not meshing well at all. Chris is saying he's checked out, and then when Huda then, basically shuts down and is like, well, fine, if you're checked out, I'm checked out. Let's check out of here together. Let's get up out this villa. Then Chris is like, no. I mean, I'm just checked out of this conversation. I'm just checked out of how things are going right now. No, you're not, Chris. No, you're not. But this is my problem. Every time Huda asks you a clarifying question, and this is not me being Team Huda, this is not me trying to even defend her, but every time she asks you a direct question to try to resolve the issue, you downplay it, you diminish it, or you say, you know what, I don't want to talk about it no more. I don't want to talk about it no more. It's not that serious. I just want to move on from this conversation. I just want to move on from this argument. And, but really you can tell that he still feels a way about the fact that y'all can have, y'all can do the grown up, y'all can do the adult activities in a room full of 5 or 4 other couples this whole time post Casa Amor. And kissing is where you draw the line. Kissing in public is where you draw the line. But people can hear you doing the adult activities in the bedroom. I still stand by, you guys, that Huda misses Jeremiah. Because even when he tried to, get up out of there when he was dumped, and even when they broke up and things were over, every conversation she still was trying to kiss on that man. I think she is still obsessed with Jeremiah, and she can't let that man go, and Huda is making up every single excuse in the world to not kiss Chris. The only time she kissed Chris, y'all, was when it was a competition between her and Shelly for Chris. But ever since, Shelly and Ace have progressed forward and Chris is left out into the dust, Huda does not care. but is going to do enough, is going to resort to the same tactics that she did with Jeremiah, which is when anytime she feels that things are lost between them, she feels that there's drama, she feels there's issues, let's do the sex, right? Let's do the adult activities so I can still reel him in and everything else and still manipulate the situation. No. So nonetheless, everybody's getting ready for bed. Amaya tells Huda that, she still feels that she understands Chris's perspective, like how you kissing on Pete, how can you not want to kiss him, but then, have sex. And listen, I don't care who y'all are, that makes zero sense to me. Furthermore, you're comfortable doing the sex in front of all these people, in front of America, in front of the world. But kissing in public's where you draw the line, but kissing in the speakeasy was okay when it was competition with Shelly. But now that that's out the window and that's not, a factor, you don't feel like you need to do any of that. As long as y'all have a game conversation that y'all are still on the same page, we're still going to ride this out in Fiji till the end. That's what I kind of feel like the gist of it is, right? So, nonetheless, something weird happened where Iris jumped in the bed and hugged up all on Nick. I'm glad you're still here. I'm glad you're still here. Da-da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, what is Iris doing? What is Iris doing? Something's weird with this girl, man. Like at first, I thought she seemed nice, but then I saw her messy tactics in that conversation when Sierra was still in the villa, asking about the Nick and Alandria kiss and why Sierra was just so quick to brush it off and not think it was a big deal and everything else. And then this just hugging on Nick and Nicolas, and I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Anything for the screen time, you guys. So, then Ace and Shelly, they're happy that America's still rocking with them and rolling with them. Listen, Shelly and Ace, when y'all come out, y'all are going to realize that, unfortunately, a lot of people decampaign for y'all. And by decampaigning, really push the scammer narrative, really push the scammer agenda. And my argument to that is, I don't know how many people have seen Love Island before, but whether it's Australia or whether it is UK, and even on the US show, they love bringing people on that either already knew each other, already met at the club, were exes, can they rekindle thing. The producers love that. Why y'all are making that a big deal this season, I have no clue. Their storyline reminds me so much of what Ella and Tyreek did on season 10, which was they met at a club or whatever else. I think exchanged numbers. I don't think Tyreek ever called her or whatever else because he figured she lived in Scotland. It was long distance at the time and he lived in London. So there was no point. Just like with Ace and Shelly. She lives in New York/Florida and Ace lives in Los Angeles. So how did they maintain this long distance relationship this entire time, y'all? Like there would be no purpose for them to go on the show because Ace is already successful. Like can we use our brains? The scamming allegations are not making any sense to me. It's not making sense. So nonetheless, we go into the next day. Ace makes a comment basically that he's used to Taylor being the first one up, making breakfast with him and everything else. Nick is really he's knocked out, right? He is absolutely knocked out. Ace comes up with pots and pans trying to wake Nick up out his slumber, y'all. Oh, one thing I want to mention too. Did y'all see Ace and Shelly praying the night before? I forgot which dumped Islander said it in an interview, but they said that Shelly and Ace has like a night routine where he's always praying before going to bed, which I love that. I'm here for all of that. Also, I found out per Taylor and Clark that tea. I think it was their Access Hollywood interview that they did yesterday. Found out that the girls pray after they get ready for the evening. So after they get ready for the evening, the girls then have a prayer before they come down the steps and meet their couples, you guys, and meet the guys. And I am here for it, you guys. I am here for all of that. I love that. It sucks that production cut it out. It sucks that production waited 33 episodes to really show the extent of Ace, praying and everything else. So nonetheless, I'm all tuned in for that, you guys. So the next day, after, everybody's eating breakfast and getting breakfast together, somebody noticed that Nick was in the girls' dressing room eating breakfast with Alandria. However, they didn't show it. And then also, Ace and Shelly were talking. I loved her little sailor bathing suit, her little sailor tubies. I thought that was fire. That was incredible. That was amazing. So they're talking, they're having a conversation. Ace is, inquiring about Shelly's chain, and she's like, so what is tea? Are you trying to take my chain? And Ace is like, no. I just think it looked fly. I think you look fly. Da. So then Nicolas comes over, you guys, and is like, listen here, Ace, we got to talk, right? I need to pull you for a chat. And so Shelly's like, oh, okay. And then Ace is like, all right, Spider-Man kiss. And then gives Shelly a Spider-Man kiss, y'all. The upside down kiss from the movie, right? So nonetheless, Ace and Nicolas go to talk, y'all. They go to sit on the beanbags, and Ace is like, whoa. We have to have the ghost of Taylor here as well, as you talk about his previous couple for 3 weeks, Alandria. Make it make sense, right? So Ace is doing all these theatrics, trying to put on a do-rag and be like, my impersonating Taylor, my connection with Clark is Clark that T, right? And everything else. And I'm the happiest I've ever been. And Nick is like, that's great and all, but I just want Ace back. And so Ace sits in the other beanbag, and he's like, I've been here the whole time, right? And everything else. And they have a conversation, and Nicolas is like, you know what? Alandria, at this point in time, her and I are not just friends. It's not just friends. It is more than that. And I don't have any friends that I just cuddle with, that I just hold hands with. And here's the thing. To that point, I agree, Nick. Nicolas, I agree with you there. I do not understand. I do not hold hands or cuddling. No. When we're supposed, no. There has to be boundaries. And if we are getting into some other things, some of these boundaries, no. So I was with him there. Shelly and Alandria were also debriefing as well. We didn't see too much of their conversation. There was a funny moment where Shelly was bouncing a pillow on her leg, and she was like laying out or whatever else, and then the bug came, and she was like trying to fight off the bug, and then Amaya came over, and they were all trying to have a little powwow, and Hoda's never too far away, right? She is never too far away, and she was like, they're having too much of a good time. Let me go and interrupt the conversation, right? So she interrupts the conversation and wants to pull Amaya for a chat. And I was like, here we go. So Huda is trying to figure out what she can do to come to a quote-unquote compromise with Chris. So that told me right then and there that they're not good. Things are not good between the both of them and everything else. However, they're trying to make fetch happen. And Amaya's like, just be honest as far as what your boundaries are. What is your love language? And I'm thinking to myself, like, these should have been conversations y'all had a couple of weeks ago, whether it was back at Casa Amor or right after Casa Amor when y'all decided to couple up with each other. Like why are we having these conversations now as far as who likes physical touch, who likes words of affirmation and everything else? Because we know Huda's love language is, listen, if you're mad at me, we're going to do bedroom activities and we're just going to pretend nothing happened, right? So that solves nothing, right? So that was their conversation, and then what ended up happening was, I believe it was Alandria that got the text, and basically they're going to play a Viva Las Vegas challenge game, and I was like, bet, right? Did I manifest Las Vegas? Because I was talking Las Vegas the other day regarding Real Housewives of Atlanta. I don't know, but I was like, Vegas, all right, let's see what it's about. So this challenge, it kind of looked like an updated car wash challenge of sorts from season 2 with Justine a little bit. And basically what it was, you had to kind of come down the pole, right? You had to like slide down the pole. And then you had to then get on the surfboard and surfboard through the soap suds to the next station. Then from there as well, you then had to go down this, you had to go upstairs and come down the slide together, and then you end up in a tub full of soap as well, of soap suds, and then you kiss. I think that is the extent of the challenge. So they had Iris and Pepe go first. They're not interesting. Next. So then they had, who was next? Amaya and Brian go. And I think the order that they did this was the order that they prefer, like, the finalists to be, right? That they're basically saying, hey, Iris and Pepe, we want you out of here next. Huda and Chris, you can go next. Get up out this villa. And so essentially, Huda, once again, I don't know if it's production. I don't know what it is. But she has these alleged stripper allegations that she is just not able to beat at this point. And she does the same moves. She does the same moves where the legs are shaking and the booty is clapping and then it's twerking on a handstand and everything else. And I'm thinking to myself, like that's like her signature move. That is her signature move at the strip club, at the stripper club up in North Carolina, right? Raise up, take your shirt off. Like that's what it was giving. So it was just wild, you guys. It was just wild. But nonetheless, you know, her and Chris, there was one station I forgot. There's a station where you have to fill up cocktails, and you and your partner, one has a large bucket of whatever is in it. I don't know if it's juice or slime, and you have to pour it in the cups. Well, by the time it got to Huda and, Chris, once they saw, Amaya and Brian throwing the juices on each other, they decided to do the same thing because they still had beef, they still had drama. Why the Huda fans are not picking up on these glaring red flags, I do not know. So on to the next, and then they had like a really, like, if you blinked and missed it, kissed for their component. So that was it, and that was all. So next we go to Ace and Shelly, right? We go to Ace and Shelly, and Ace and Shelly had gotten super creative, with their whole performance, with their whole routine. Ace is licking on Shelly's chest and doing all types of stuff at this routine, and they really worked together as a team on this challenge. Then they did like a little bit of a little setup that Ace had hit the jackpot and everything else before they went down the slide and everything else, and then they went to town on the kissing and everything else, and everybody was cheering them on because that's the real mom and dad of the couple. Huda. That is the real mom and dad of the villa because they've been together the longest and everything else as it stands. So last but not least was NICOLANDRIA. They went last, right? And so they got creative as well after coming down the pole, and then Nick disappears, y'all. Nick disappears, and they're like, "Where's Nick? Where did he go? Where did he go?" And I was like, "I don't know." And then Nick, it looks like he is allegedly licking Alandria up and down. I was thinking of the song Freak Me by Silk. That's what I was thinking. I was like, what is happening here? And they're in the confessional. They're like, yeah, Alandria tastes good. And I was like, oh boy, here we go, right? And so none of the less, you guys. None of the less. We then, they, do their thing throughout the challenge or whatever else. And when it is time, they're twerking on each other. Alandria slapping Nick's behind. He's twerking. Alandria's backing up for Nick. Like all types of activities are taking place, you guys. Then they come up with a name that they're calling themselves Freako Nick. That's not gonna fly with the NICOLANDRIA fans. They're not gonna feature it. Anything involving Freak Nick or Nick at Night or anything like that. No. Because really it has a negative connotation as it pertains to Nick in terms of how he's been moving in this villa. So not a good idea, Nick. Just stick with NICOLANDRIA for now. So they kiss, right? They go to town because this challenge has a kiss or whatever. So this is their first time kissing and everything else ever since they have been a couple previously back at Casa Amor. So they're like, Nick is like, yeah, I'm excited. We're reigniting the physical and da 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 da. And, and so he enjoyed the kiss. It looks like Calandria enjoyed the kiss and everything else, right? So that is on that. So then the challenge ends. There's no winners. There's no prizes. I don't understand. Why couldn't we have done something like last year when they had the Olympics? Like, hey, whoever wins this or wins that, you get a night in the hideaway or something, or you get a date. Can we give some incentives with these challenges at this point since the budget is up? Can we have more dates on this freaking show, right? Can we send more people to different places in Fiji for something? Can we do something? Give these people something to do, right? After all these challenges. So nonetheless, they go back to the villa. Everybody's getting ready for the nighttime activities of it all. Iris and Pepe, the widows, aka the widows roll, they are off in the daybed per usual, just kissing each other down. And I'm just not featuring any of it because I'm like, what y'all gonna do? Are y'all gonna run back to Hannah and TJ after all this? After y'all got down with the get down? Oh, speaking of Iris, she was messy too during the challenge. When Nick and Olandria had their kiss, she was like, that didn't look like a friendship kiss to me. I feel like she had a secret crush on Nick. That's just my observation. She had a secret crush on Nick. However, she at some point became good friends with Sierra. This is the same issue that happened with Calandria. So she felt like they couldn't cross the line. But when Sierra was on Aftersun, she said that she would like to be in a throuple with Iris, her, and Nick. And remember, they picked her, as one of the people, or whatever else. Somebody picked somebody. I can't remember if it was her couple or Iris couple. Doesn't matter. But they wanted to tongue her down. So I feel like she's always had a thing for Nick, because that hug that she gave him in the bed was very much like I wanted a sample. But nonetheless, as far as the rest of the nighttime goes, Amaya and Brian decide that instead of focusing on their couples, they or production want to rehab Huda and Chris for some reason, and I do not know why. We are arguing the last week of the show, the last few days that you are going to be up in this villa, but for some reason, Amaya wanted to help save Huda and Chris, and I have no idea why. After all the B's and all the H's that Huda was calling Amaya when she came up into this villa, when Amaya initially was interested in Jeremiah, I have no idea why she is now like, that's my bestie. A child, she's a better one than me, right? But basically, they come up with this lie. Like, Brian goes first, and he's like, listen, I gotta go to the restroom, but you go over at the dock, and I'll meet you there, to Chris, right? And then Amaya pulls the same stunt with Huda. She's like, well, I gotta go to the bathroom, and Huda's like, well, I'll go to the bathroom with you. And then Amaya's trying to, drag it, and she's like, well, I need you to go to the dock. You could just wait for me, or whatever. And Huda's just there, just chilling. And Amaya's like, well, I gotta do number two. I gotta drop the deuces. I don't want nobody around me when I do that. So can you go to the docks? And I'm just like, But the thing is, a caveat to that is, if you've ever worked in healthcare, if you've ever been a doctor or a nurse or a nursing assistant or anything in healthcare, right? Even if you're not actively doing patient care anymore, it's funny when that happened because people are so open in healthcare and talking about bowel movements and talking about bodily functions, and you don't realize it when you're out of that mode, when you're not at work, when you're not at the hospital or anything like that, and you're just talking like it's regular. But then it's you have to realize to the masses, they're probably thinking, ew, this is disgusting. How are you just going to say you're taking a bowel movement? But again, Amaya is a nurse. She's a registered nurse. Nicolas is a registered nurse. So that type of, openness of bodily functions and things like that's nothing new to them, right? So finally, Huda gets the hit. She goes to the doc. She realizes that this is a setup. This is a scheme set up by Todd to get her and Chris to try to work things out, you guys. And it is not going to work out. I am so confused by the Huda fans who thought that this was a good conversation. And I'm going to need y'all to reassess the body language and the tone and everything else. Chris is checked out. Huda is checked out. I interpret it from this conversation that Huda still wants Jeremiah. That she'll do whatever to keep Chris, in line for these bedroom activities, but she does not want to kiss him on camera, and it has nothing to do with what the other Islanders think. She's using that as an excuse, but she doesn't care. She wants to make it look like to Jeremiah, like maybe they aren't showing our bed scenes together. So she wants to make it look like, this is just my theory, and I'm probably going to be on an island on this, and I don't care. But this is my theory, right? Jeremiah put it on Huda, right? And Jeremiah is the finest man Huda's ever been with, right? She doesn't like the way things went down. She thinks America was being messy, and she thinks America messed up her relationship, right? Messed up her winning couple, right? So she still was trying to get this man back, and he was saying, no, right? Doesn't really like Chris until his interest in Shelly, right? So she's jealous of that, and she's jealous that Shelly's got all these men after her, but now it's down to Ace and Chris, and so she's like, okay, so what can I do to get some attention here? And that's when she allegedly went too far with Ace on the heart rate challenge, because she felt a way that Chris was still very much all in on Shelly, and she was doing the bare minimum. She doesn't have to do all of these theatrics and everything else to get these men's attention. How she carries herself is enough to have these men crashing out over Shelly, and that is the root of Huda's issue. So none of the less, she thought she was doing her big one, doing some big get back by doing something to Ace to piss Shelly off, to try to F up the connection or whatever else, and it backfired. So now that Shelly is no longer interested in Chris and she doesn't care, and they're already doing, the nasty and everything else, now all of a sudden she is, she's checked out. She doesn't want to make it seem like she's more into Chris than what it is, but she doesn't mind having sex with him when the lights go out. Right? When the lights go down and everything else, because, you figure, since we got the covers over all of this and everything else, they're not really showing all of that and everything else. So we're Gucci. I think she's going to try to make a play for Jeremiah. She knows coming up here, the press is going to be asking her a million questions about Jeremiah, because that was a big part of her journey. And so yeah. We will see what happens there, but I think her and Chris are done, Joe, and I think Huda fans have made a mistake in keeping them in this villa, because I have a feeling if some weird thing happens and Huda and Chris win this show, I have a strong feeling that Chris is going to somehow end up with the thing to keep the money or split it or whatever else, and he's going to keep the money. He is going to keep the money! And I am going to laugh my behind off at you, Huda fans, because y'all did not listen to us. Y'all did not listen to us who are not new to this. We are true to this show. And when we are telling you the people are scamming, they are scamming. Chris is checked out. He's not interested in Huda. He should have pursued Amaya that day. He was talking about how good she looked when he was working out and everything else. Once things were not progressing the way that they wanted to, aka Shelly was not chasing him once she got back to that villa. So nonetheless, he didn't want to put in the work to start chasing because Huda kept having all these crash outs, but he should have pivoted before Brian and moved in on Amaya, and he would be a lot happier. He would be a much happier man, you guys. But the other piece, we had more conversations with Nick and Ace, him talking about his connection with Alandria, how he thinks about her, how much he likes her, all of this and all of that. And then we have Shelly and Alandria talking. Shelly's like, listen here, look here, girl, you're my bestie up in this bleep. When are you and Nick gonna kiss again outside of the challenge? Y'all haven't done anything since that thing you told me about at Soul Ties and I was cheesing, and you were not reading the room by pulling me for a private conversation and having the audacity to talk about this so freely in front of Sierra. So Alandria's like, okay, girl, I'm working on it. Nick, he's flirting. He's like, hey, girls. He's like waving back at them, talking, everything else. So she's like, I'm working on it. I'm going to work on, making this happen. So then you guys, Nicolas and Alandria go to the speakeasy, and I'm like, all right, it is about to go down. And it was awkward, you guys, because it did not go down. Nick is trying to give Alandria all these compliments, talking about he likes the 2 strands of her braids in the front of her face, and I thought that was shade because Sierra always had these 2 strands, like she was going to a rave, like she was going to Coachella and everything else, and I didn't know what she was doing. I had no clue what she was doing, but none of the less, Nick likes it on Alandria. He said that he only brought 6 outfits for the show, you guys. He didn't expect to be here this long, and I'm just thinking to myself, like why don't people just plan to be here for the entirety of the show and everything else? Like what are we doing? And so none of the less, he did not think of that. And now he allegedly is wearing, I guess that's Hannah's zip up or whatever. So now he's just wearing other people's clothes because he did not anticipate, being here this long. So him and Alandria are still talking. I thought they were going to kiss in the speakeasy, but it looked kind of awkward. It seems like there's still like some awkwardness. I don't know if it's a situation. I don't know if Alandria is shy, but there's something that is disconnecting to where they're not on the same page yet. And I don't know if Nick is filling her out. I feel like their family might be able to fill in some gaps today, and we should see a change after the family visit. They did end up going into the picture room or whatever else. The name is escaping me. Like the photo booth. They ended up going there, taking some pictures, and then Nicolas pulled a Janet Jackson of wrapping his hands around her breast, the thing that she did on the Rolling Stone cover in 1993. And then they ended up kissing, but it got cut short. Production went away from it, and I was confused. I was like, what the welly on saying? Like, did the kiss stop? Were they still kissing? Did it get awkward? Like, why don't we just cut the scene? So I don't know what's going on there, and it's getting suspicious. It's getting a little suspicious. So the next thing is we have Ace and Shelly. They're talking on as well, and they're having a conversation. And at this point, I'm thinking Ace is about to go exclusive and close things off with Shelly, you guys. Ace and Nick have been confiding in each other about their feelings for Shelly and Alandria. So Ace is really hitting on, how much, Shelly has meant to him, how she's special to him, all of these things, how he feels like at this point, now that he's sure of everything, he wants to close it off. Nick is, saying that Alandria has him feel the butterflies, makes him, feel giddy, everything else. And he's excited about the feelings that he feels for her. So while Shelly and Ace are talking, he's like feeling her outfit. He's feeling how good she looks and everything else. And I think he was about to pull out his phone and read this speech and have like an intimate moment as far as really conveying to Shelly what she means to him. Why did Shelly get a text? I got a text that was like, hey, Islanders, choose a couple to have a private night at the Hideaway. And everybody was saying Shelly and Ace's name, and Iris was not happy. Iris was like, what about me? We should be at the Hideaway. And I was like, girl, didn't you and Pepe just couple up a couple of days ago? Are you out of your mind? Are you insane? Weren't you just a few days ago before TJ left the villa up there making magic happen out in Soul Ties? Like, what are we doing out here? Pitching a tent with his you-know-what, and you have the audacity, you have been the least coupled, the least amount of time with the exception of NICOLANDRIA, and you have the audacity to be mad that you are not going to the Hideaway. Are you serious right now, Iris? Are you serious right now? What do you need alone time with Pepe for when y'all have already gotten y'all rocks off? In like, I don't understand. Y'all connection is a connection of convenience. Y'all are two widows that are missing your spouses that have left the villa, and y'all are seeking temporary comfort in each other. So there is that, you guys. So nonetheless, we get into, Ace and Shelly. Everybody is excited. They're getting Shelly ready for the hideaway. They're getting Ace ready for the hideaway. Everybody's hyping them up and all this and all of that. Shelly had on this cute number, right? She had on this cute number. There was a little bit of demureness going on. She had some gloves on. It was all blackety black. Her hair was up in a bun. Her makeup was together. Everything was right? So, and then at one point, Landria, she was like eating chips. she was eating chips and everything else, but everybody was hyping up Shelly. And so then, you guys, Shelly comes down and they send her and Ace off to the hideaway. And this was hilarious because they were doing their own type of dance as well, is on their way to the hideaway. And then they're trying to make this song happen. The Eat the Kitty in the Hideaway, y'all. Eat that kitty in the hideaway, and Ace is looking nervous as ever, right? So nonetheless, we get to the hideaway, right? We get to the hideaway, and Shelly's like, what you trying to do, right? You want me in my birthday suit? You want me in my bathing suit? Like let's get it crack-a-lackin'. And I was like, all right, Shelly, she's on that type of time. I don't think Ace is, though. I think Ace is very much concerned about his image and how he looks on TV and everything else. And I think his mind is preoccupied of he's a Leo, right? So his mind was preoccupied. He had already pre-planned how he was going to ask Shelly to close things off and be exclusive. This whole hideaway situation had put a monkey wrench into things. So while Shelly is getting changed and putting on her bathing suit, Ace is trying to think fast as far as a way that he can quickly put something together that is meaningful. And he runs out to this sliding glass door portion of the hideaway that is where the jacuzzi is where like this thing of sand is and everything else. And he literally draws a line in the sand. Draws a line in the sand. But basically tries to make a heart out of the sand and do A plus C to represent Ace plus Shelly, and then do like a little, like an arrow, like through the heart, like you struck my heart, right? Or whatever else. So Shelly comes out and she's like, what the welly, Ante? Like, why are we not up in this bed? Why aren't we having some alone time? And so Ace is like, come out, to this sand that I did for you. But close your eyes first, right? So he has her go up to the steps, and Ace is showing her this heart and everything else that he made of the sand, the line in the sand, the heart in the sand, if you will. And he then, Shelly's like, okay, that's great, like, can we get to crack-a-lackin'? Like, what is happening? And so then Ace whips out his phone, y'all. He whips out his phone and he says he has a speech. He has some things that he needs to get off of his chest, y'all. I thought that the speech that Ace gave Shelly was very intentional, very thoughtful, very meaningful. And he aired out her entire government name too and found a way to rhyme it with the things that he was saying. I like the one piece of it where he was talking about how when Shelly was in other connections that he didn't want another painter to be the one to have access to her canvas or some other stuff, and then said, where was my Cinderella has been missing. She left without a trace. Like I love how he just like rhymes stuff with like his name and her name and everything else. Like I thought it was really cute. Now again, for y'all still trying to make these scammer allegations, I think what they said is reasonable. I think y'all are going to feel bad when they come out this villa and y'all went so hard at these scammer allegations and it didn't make any sense. The birthday shout out that had went viral on TikTok was a different Shelly. And it even said in the caption, it was a different spelling of Shelly. It was Shelley. Shelly's real name, even though she's going by her nickname Chelley, is Michelle. I don't find a big deal about people following each other or people commenting on each other's pictures or liking. That seems to be the new thing this generation likes to do. And for those of you who are Love Island historians, whether it is in the UK, whether it is in the US, or Love Island Australia, this is pretty common that happens. This happened also in season 5, I believe, with Carmen and Kenzo, that they allegedly had a mutual person at the gym or something, a mutual following of sorts, and kind of knew each other, right? And then this also happened as well, where they brought in Marco's ex that same season to see whether or not they wanted to rekindle things. I believe also in... What am I thinking of? Season 3, Kira and Will, allegedly. Like, they were trying to make it seem like they knew each other, that they had a previous relationship because I think they had liked each other's comments or things like that before. And it amounted to nothing. And I've referenced, of course, Tyreek and Ella from season 10 in the UK. I say all that to say, they're not acting to me like a couple who's known each other. They're acting very much like they met each other at the club. They were attracted to each other. One person lives on the West Coast, one person lives on the East Coast. Unless somebody has intentions to move, it probably was just a few flirty DMs here and there, a few flirty, like, I'm gonna like your pic, I'm gonna comment on your pic, this and that, but nothing amounted to anything, because who's gonna be spending the money to travel back and forth from Los Angeles to New York in this economy? Who's doing it, you guys? Is what I want to know. So, nonetheless, that's it. That's all for this episode. I tried to give y'all as much as I could. I tried to stretch this out as much as I could, because y'all know that I usually don't like doing these long videos. But for Love Island and everything else, like it is what it is. But, nonetheless, that is it. That is all for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.